Okay, so I threw away my Ouija board, and I'm zooming in on this because it's a really cool backdrop. I really like snowflakes. It's just gonna be a rambling video, I guess. Because I realized I was getting like addicted to it. And it's so scary when you're addicted to something when you're young, and you're not that mindful of your. And I suppose that's why mindfulness is so important. Because when you get older, you start to realize things that you thought you knew, or movies you watch when you're a kid, or the things that you did when you're a kid. When you get older, you realize you kind of subconsciously pick up on that stuff and you kind of keep it with you. And then you start behaving in ways that are like reflections of, you know, that kind of stuff. And we don't really realize that, how much influence certain things have over us. And then that's when they become addictions. And then even when you're addicted to something, you might be in denial about it, which is very scary about addictions. I know I used to be addicted to, let's see. Well, reading, really. Well, anything could become an addiction if you do too much of it. That's kind of what's scary about addictions. Anything can become an addiction. This is just one. Kind of tired, so I'm just kind of rambling right now. And I can't turn the video camera around on myself right now. That's why I'm kind of having on. I tried to read more of that book because I thought I'd talk more about Jesus. Oh, I just stopped on a really good part. It says Jesus is a living word. This was the same voice that had calmed the storm. The same voice that had commanded Lazarus to come forth from the tomb. The same voice that had turned Mary's tears to joy when it called her by name. The same voice that has called into being everything and anything that has ever existed. John said this voice was like the sound of rushing waters. And it's just kind of like, oh cool, there's a chapter. It says when you're depressed by the greatness of your problems. And then the author just kind of goes into a little bit of anecdotes about from his life. From her life, sorry. Forgot that the author was a woman. And that's not an insult to the author, I just couldn't remember who wrote it. And each, the whole book is hope when you are depressed, when you're discouraged. And it's just talking about Jesus. Basically. And even if it mentions when John was distraught, the disciple John, so even Jesus' disciples got distraught. John was distraught. He wrote, I wept and wept because no one who was found worthy to open the scroll or look inside. Revelation 5:4. The old apostles stood there and sobbed in utter despair and hopelessness. The godly were not just a minority. It seemed the truly godly were non-existent. Did this mean that the curse of God on the human race and the planet Earth would never be lifted? That paradise was lost forever? That the cross was impotent to save mankind from God's wrath? That there was no atonement for man's sin? That in the end evil would win out over good, hate would win out over love, and death would win out over life? And then she says, do you blame John for weeping? Who can blame John for weeping? Surely horror gripped his soul and hopelessness gripped his heart, and helplessness gripped his mind. He must have sobbed and sobbed, with shame for the failure of the entire human race to be what God had originally intended it to be. Wow, those are powerful words. So even one of the disciples was very beside himself emotionally. So, I guess it goes to show, like, whatever we're facing, just know that someone else has felt that way before too. Even the disciples cried over things. And even the disciples, even Judas, remember? Judas he didn't even know Jesus. He was of the people. He wanted to be liked by the people. Remember Judas? Sometimes I wonder if a demon went inside of him. You know, a disembodied spirit. If a demon went inside of Judas, and then that's why Judas said to crucify Jesus. I wonder. Or was Judas always bad? Or do you think afterwards Judas felt remorse? Or do you think Judas was always bad? And then this part in the Bible that kind of would confuse me was when there's a part when it says Jesus said to the people, to certain people, like, you are not, you do not know me, otherwise you would have kept my laws. So even all the way back then, there was people that like turned away from Jesus that were already turned away spiritually from him. And this is before Jesus. So does that mean demons were there before Jesus? So how old are demons? Are the demons older than Jesus? Are they the same age? Just kind of question I had. Because I know like demons were real back then, or people believe that they were. I mean, because demons are mentioned in the Bible. And because Jesus, there's a part when Jesus even performed an exorcism. This is before exorcists was even a word. Jesus performed. He was like the first exorcist. Jesus performed an exorcism on one guy. One guy. And he had a lot of spirits, evil spirits inside of him. So what does that tell you? That's how powerful Jesus was. If that's not power, I don't know what is. Even the demons were shaking in fear of Jesus. Even they told Jesus, please send us into the pigs. You know, because they knew something. They even knew Jesus was important. Even if they couldn't say it themselves out loud. Well, I think one of them actually may have called him special or something. I forget the exact quote in the Bible because I lost my Bible recently. I've been trying to find it. So does that mean demons were before Jesus? Were they always disobeying God? Were they always mad at God? Is that why they're so mad? Are they still mad? Are demons still real? This question used to have me stumped. But I think, after all these years, I think that there's enough evidence to say that there probably is. Some will give you what you want, but they don't give you what you need. You could have all the things you want, but you can still regret it after you get the things you want. And then you kind of become like a slave to the demon, Well, I hope you don't know what that feels like, because I don't think that feels good. Where it's unequal relationship. And a few demons even take souls of people. So that tells me that demons are probably older than we are, than humans are. They don't lead people to God. They lead people astray. They don't go by their own code of ethics or morals. Think of stray cats or dogs. They don't have leashes. They just do whatever they want. That's kind of like how some demons are. Some have free will, probably. Some are more evil, probably. Some hold grudges, including past lives or lives. Including a past life or lives. They don't forgive. Some are more temperamental. Some can be fickle, some are vengeful and hateful, some are easily angered. You ever see a kid have a temper tantrum at a store? Well, when a demon gets mad, worse things happen. And this is from like my own research that I've done. And I've seen videos of people who have been possessed by demons. I've seen videos of I've seen a video of a guy talking about a witch doctor. Let me say, like, I know certain things, and that's why I'm just kind of just trying to help get the word out, about how important, forgiveness is. Because you want a good heart. You don't want to have a bad heart. Are you going to be buried with money when you die? Is money going to matter after you're dead? Are your friends really your friends? Do they look out for you? Because demons don't. I'm not saying, like, if your friend fits certain qualities that I just said. I'm not saying, like, if your friend fits, like, if you're those qualities, that doesn't mean that they're automatically a demon. I'm just giving some examples of certain things that I know of from research and stuff. That there are curses too, which is a whole nother story. Just big mess sometimes. Just, oh my gosh. And I'm not an expert on those, so don't, I know I used to work with a lady who said she had a voodoo doll, and I think I quit that job because I didn't trust her after that. I remember one of my other relatives had a voodoo doll. I didn't trust her after that. It was like a fake looking one, but I still didn't like it. I held it in my hands. It was still in the box and I didn't want it. I still don't know how she got it. Well, that's just me kind of rambling about stuff. Okay, good night. Bye.